it somewhere else, as it is. I hope you're not thinking about it yet. You have another year, right? Um, yeah, anyways, I hope everybody had a wonderful Pesach. Again, sorry for last week. I went back to my old routine. I went to the boys' school. And then I saw that I got a text the day before that I should come here, and I missed it. But anyways, we're actually getting to the end of Tomer Devorah. We're holding by attribute number 10, which is, it's called Titan Emet LeYaakov, which means actually God gives truth to Yaakov, to Jacob, to Yaakov Avinu, or to Yaakov means the Jewish people. You see, this thing is a little bit tricky. I hope I'm understanding it correctly. Jews are divided to two groups in general. You have Yaakov and Israel. You're familiar with that, right? Yaakov's name was Yaakov. Then later on, when he fought with the angel, his name was changed to Israel. And Mefarshim explained that actually this talks about two different levels amongst Jews. You have the regular Jews that only do what they have to do. They don't go beyond the letter of the law. Tell me what I have to do, that's it. I don't want to do more than what I have to do. So that's Yaakov. Israel actually is shown by the Jews that are tzaddikim, righteous people. They're called Israel. Anybody knows a little bit different when we learned that the Parsha of Bo, I think, no, it's Beshala. No, it's Yitro, I'm sorry. Parsha Yitro. When God says, Ko Tomar Lebet Yaakov and V'taged Lebet Israel, Libnei Israel. Who's Beit Yaakov? Who's Bnei Israel? Who's the Beit Yaakov? Speak to Beit Yaakov. Who did Moshe Rabbeinu speak to first? The women. So Beit Yaakov is not to be the women, and then Bnei Israel means the men. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says, no, that's not the simple explanation, although it is, because Rashi only says the simple explanation. He says Beit Yaakov means the regular Jews, right? And when it says Bnei Israel, the name Israel is used, means the righteous. So Moshe Rabbeinu first went to the regular Jews, then he went to the righteous. What's the reason I have to look in Orach Chaim HaKadosh? So anyways, Yaakov is the lower level Jews, regular us, Me, I'm sorry, you guys are tzaddikim, or I'm sorry, tzidkaniot, the higher level. I'm talking about myself, the regular guy. We only do what we have to do. I don't want to go beyond of what I have to do. What should I do that I shouldn't fall into Gehenna? The minimum. That's the type of guy, Yaakov, right? So whether it says when God judges them, Titan Emet, he actually judges them with truth. That's what we're going to discuss. What does it mean? Usually, if a guy only does what he has to do, right? Imagine a guy does for you the minimum. What would you give him or her in return? Honestly, regular people. What would you do? If somebody gives you the minimum, you just give him the minimum, right? Somebody only lends you $100, so you need loan, I give you $100. If I'm so nice, I give you $120. If I'm a Persian, I give you $100 plus a penny. I'm that nice. I could make jokes about myself, right? We only go to 99-cent stores to buy. Not anymore because they're $1.25. You have to find a cheaper store now. Forgive me, Persians can make fun of Persians. Nobody's going to take it to heart. But honestly, the way you judge a person usually is the way you act to me, I'm going to act towards you too. So if you're talking about regular Jews that only do the minimum, only what the law dictates. So when God judges us, he has to give us the complete attribute of justice. This is what it says. God doesn't do that. He gives you emet. He gives you the truth. And he explains that emet means mercy. That God in the judgment puts mercy in there. Really, why? Why is God so merciful? So we're going to discuss this actually a couple of things. You see, what happens is God looks at the bigger picture. He doesn't look only at our actions. Let me bring you a couple stories actually. He looks at the situation of the person. Let's bring an example. We talk, this week's Pasha talks about don't take revenge or don't keep a grudge. Have you ever noticed what Rashi says when it says do not take revenge, right? What happens is a guy comes to you and he says, can you please give me your sickle to whatever. What do we want today? What's this happening? I don't know. Sorry. Imagine a guy comes and he says, give me your sickle. Now, sickle is something that's very expensive. If you use it, it's going to become dull. You can't use it anymore. And I say, no, I don't want to give it to you. I'm not going to give it to you. So then you come to me the next time and you say, you know what? Give me your axe. And axe really doesn't get ruined the more you use it because it's not to do with the sharpness. Axe is a heavy thing. And I said, I don't want to give you the axe. I just took revenge. What is, keeping grudge? Imagine what happens is you come and tell me, give me your axe, which is a very cheap thing, and I don't want to give it to you. The next day you come to me and you say, I come to you and I say, you know what, give me your sickle, which is much more expensive. I said, I'll give it to you, but I'm not like you. Even though you didn't give me an axe, which is less of a value, I'm going to give you the sickle, which is more expensive, because I'm not like you. Which sin did I do? No, I gave it to you. Grudge. So now let me ask you something. Isn't this guy such a generous guy? He's giving his sickle, which is worth more. And the first guy that didn't give me the axe, he didn't do a sin. He doesn't have to give it to me, maybe because of Abat Israel. But I gave him the sickle because I said, and I gave him an advice. Hey, you got to be a nice guy. I'm not like you. I'm a sinner. Why does the second guy that is so nice comes out to be the sinner, but the first guy is not? So see what happens is the first guy is very selfish. True, he doesn't want to even give an axe. That doesn't have too much of a value. But I'm more of a generous person, so God expects more from me. That's a problem. Exactly like why God expects too much from the Jews. You do one wrong thing, is oy vey, my gosh. Why is God so religious in punishing us? I don't know, but that's the way it is. It's like, why are your parents so religious in disciplining you? That's the way it is, because you are the children. But if in the street does something wrong, maybe the parents won't do so much about them. Our parents, I'm talking about. So anyways, we see when somebody's in a higher level, God has a bigger expectation. So Yaakov is the lower level. Jews that don't really want to do too much, they just want to do the minimum. But God looks and he says, you know what, they're not really at fault. This is their best. What do you expect from a child who's in Tarzana, right? Encino, in the heart of California, the woke state. We all know what it is. Thank God no wokeism over here. But in the public schools, they teach about woke things. Obviously, God is going to be a little bit less judgmental. This is the concept that God judges us with truth. And he explains what truth means. He doesn't look at just our action, which is minimum. He looks at the bigger picture. He understands that in exile, doing what we're doing, in Galut, what we're doing is pretty good. I'm saying, please don't get too easy on yourselves. We have to be strict on ourselves. Talk about when we're judging others. We actually find something very interesting in that also, and after that I'm going to finish, and we're going to see what we learn about this. There was a story with Nebuchadnezzar. There was one time a king, his name was Hiram. He was the king of Tsur. He lived for many, many years, over 1,000 years, a non-Jew idol worshiper. I don't know how or what kind of a science he used. He was able to make a 7-story building in the middle of the ocean. And he was living there. So he said, I have no idea. So it says, it's brought down in Tanakh, the story, it's in Nevi'im. So then God sends Yecheskel, brings a wind, and Yecheskel flies, and he goes inside his palace, 7 floors, and he says, hey, you're not a god. It says, well, maybe I was born from a mother, but I'm a god now. Look, I live in middle of the ocean, 7 floors, and God has the 7 heavens for himself, some type of a god on earth. So Hashem sends Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar somehow builds bridges, and he goes in the middle of the ocean, and he destroys it. He doesn't get any reward, because by the time he came back to the city of Tsur to take all the money, a big flood came, and everything went under. So he didn't get anything. So God tells Yecheskel, you know what? Nebuchadnezzar did my job. He got rid of a wicked person. He got no reward. I want to give him a reward. What is his reward? I'm going to give him land of Egypt. That's when, the Egyptians were harming the Jews for such a long time. So Nebuchadnezzar goes and actually conquers Egypt and plunders it, becomes even bigger empire and a lot more money. Simple question. Why didn't God give him Olam Haba? There's many explanations. Isn't that better? It's like he threw him a piece of cake. Come on. You have millions of dollars, give him millions of dollars. Why give him a piece of cake? Give him Olam Haba for that. Isn't it much more worth it? So one of the answers that they give is, he was in such a low state that he would not appreciate Olam Haba. It would be too much for him. I'm going to soon say a story to prove that. So therefore, God gave him something that he appreciates. He judged him based on his truth, what he understands. You get what I'm saying? So the lesson that we learn from here is, we usually judge a person based on our standards. If I'm very religious, you're not, oh my gosh, you're not even Jewish, you're a goy. That's what I might think. That's why I said if, because I'm not. But let's see, if I'm smart, and then somebody else, is a little bit not as smart as I am, I become judgmental. I don't want to deal with you. You're not that smart. So here the Torah tells us you should always use emet, which means mercy, in your judgment. Judge the person based on his truth. Everyone was in the Gemara, when you go to a wedding, what is supposed to do? He's supposed to say how beautiful the bride is to the husband, correct? What happens if she's really ugly? Sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone. Every Jewish girl is beautiful. This is in China. What happens if the bride is ugly? What are you supposed to do? You know the Gemara, come on. What does the Gemara say? So Shammai, what? Go ahead. No, go ahead. You lie? Right, so actually it's an argument. Very good. I'm thinking you're really scholars. I'm not kidding. Very, very good point. You all said you know the truth in the Gemara. So Beit Shammai says, find something nice in her. No, pay attention. Guys. So Beit Shammai says, say something nice that you find in her. Nice eyes, nice nose, I don't know, nice ears, nice hair. Say something about it. So you know what Hillel says? No. You can't do that. Why can't you do it? Because if you're going to say just the nose is nice or the hair is nice, that means everything else is not nice. So Hillel says you have to say these words. Kala na'ava chasuda. What does that mean? She's pretty and righteous. Chasuda means kind, gracious. So then they ask, Hillel, how could you lie? The Torah says, Midvar sheker tirchat. So Hillel answers, imagine somebody went and bought a merchandise and he was ripped off and he cannot return it. What are you going to tell him? Oh man, you were ripped off? Let him enjoy what he bought. So was he really lying or not? So then the Mefarshim explained they were not lying. Obviously, if I'm marrying this woman, I found something beautiful in her. In my world, that's beautiful. Whether it's the character trait, whether it's the looks, whatever it is, I found something beautiful in her that I wanted to get married. So therefore, in the world of this khatan who's getting married, this is beautiful. So therefore, bring yourself lower to his level, even though to my standards, maybe whatever, that girl is not pretty. But anyway, I have no permission to look at a girl. You know that. When it comes at the night of the wedding, boys are not allowed to look at the face of the kala because the beauty is only for her husband. But I'm saying, if let's say somebody does and she's not beautiful in his eyes, it's none of your business. You got to bring yourself lower to the level of that khatan. Obviously, found something beautiful in her. So from here we learn that the way God judges us, doesn't judge us based on his standards. He understands which level we are. Yaakov in a lower level, and nevertheless he judges us favorably. So when it comes to other people, you got to bring ourselves lower to their level, and based on their truth, we should judge them, not according to our standards. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.